the last two applications I mentioned. Now, in regard to the City of Goleta's application, I would just like to note that we worked for several years with the city to resolve issues that were related to that project. Over the course of that work, the city made significant modifications, including changing the project to delete one of the originally two proposed bridges in order to reduce the potential impacts of the project while still providing for the necessary infrastructure improvements, incorporating substantial habitat restoration and public access and recreational opportunities into the project as well. And I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the city staff for working with our staff so diligently for so long to resolve those issues. And in regard to the second item, the Getachew application, I would note that although it is unusual for the Commission to allow for the deletion of a previously required condition of approval, such as a public view corridor condition, in this case, staff believes this is appropriate due to the unique circumstances, and specifically, although this site was located between Pacific Coast Highway and the ocean and had a view corridor condition in 1976, over the intervening years, there were a number of surrounding lots. There were about 8 lots located between Pacific Coast Highway and the beach. Those other lots were all developed with other residential permits, and given the nature of the topography, the vegetation on site, and the other development that was approved without that view corridor condition, there simply are no views available over these sites today, and that is what is driving our recommendation and why we think this is appropriate. I would just note in closing, the applicants are in agreement with all conditions of approval. We're not aware of any opposition, and staff therefore recommends the Commission vote and approve this item.
Thank you. Are there any ex partes?
Public comment.
Excuse me, sir, you're out of order. Are there any ex partes? We have one speaker card from John Davis with respect to these matters. Sir, you may come forward at this time.
Thank you very much. In regard to 17A, special condition number 3 is important in that it advances the principles enshrined in the California Coastal Act. Views are an important resource and have slowly but surely disappeared, replaced by walls and structures and other view obstructing objects. These views are protected not only by the California Coastal Act, but by the U.S. Coastal Zone Management Act of 1972, which the State Act implements. To deny this permit is to protect the coast and its valuable resources, and to approve it would sacrifice the very resources this Commission is tasked with protecting for only a private benefit. Furthermore, to extinguish such a deed restriction that is protective of views for whatever reason sets the stage for future requests to extinguish even more of the very few view corridors we have left of the valuable resources of the state. So think about it from the point of setting a precedent and having a line behind me come to you and say, well, you gave it to them. We want ours extinguished. We want ours extinguished until you have no view corridors left. Now, your staff was downplaying the value of view corridors, saying, well, everyone else is doing it, therefore let them do it too. It's really of no value. It is of value. That's why the commission that was here before you set forth this deed restriction. So take seriously the commissioners that have preceded you and their actions, and take seriously why they took those actions and why they stood up to protect the California Coastal Act and the Federal Coastal Zone Management Act, because the view corridor is a resource. There is no excuse to remove it now, and there was no excuse to remove it then, and there's no excuse to remove it 25 years from now. We have very few view opportunities left. They're being extinguished in a rapid manner, and in fact, in my area, in Los Angeles, in the Biona wetlands, they're proposing to put dikes along Highway 1 that are 30 feet tall, so you can't even see the ocean anymore. This is what we're talking about. So if you want to set a precedent that is contrary to your vows to uphold the Coastal Act, and you extinguish this, it will be running contrary to what your sworn oath to protect the laws of this state, and you all swore such an oath. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you. Turning it back over to staff.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
For rebuttal, or should we go